Hey, what's going on, guys? It's Steve. So J.R. Smith has officially re-signed with the Cleveland Cavaliers. Pretty much everyone knew he was going to sign with the Cavaliers. It took longer than everyone expected. I mean, damn, he didn't even go to training camp. He didn't even play in the preseason or anything like that. So I hope he isn't rusty to start the season off for Cavaliers and for LeBron James. But is this really that big of news? Not really, because to be honest, the Cavaliers, I already said this before, they're not as good as they were last year, just in terms of depth, losing Timofey Mozgov, Matthew Dellavedova. People were saying, oh, well, they never played in the NBA Finals. Yeah, that's true, but at the same time, you also have to understand it's not just about the finals, it's about the regular season and midway through and in the beginning of the playoffs, because, now Kyrie, now, J.R. Smith, now Feld and Amon Shumpert, LeBron, they're all going to have to play more minutes now, which is more strain on the body, which, isn't too good for the playoffs. But I'm pretty sure Coach Ty Lue and LeBron will figure something out, because we all know LeBron's pretty much the head coach of that team, the manager, the GM, all of the above. Pretty much, I'm pretty sure he's going to own the Cleveland or at least a portion of the Cavaliers by the time he retires. So that's that. So really not that big of a deal. I just think, I just don't understand why it took so long. I mean, he was such a huge impact in you winning the NBA Finals, so why wait so long to re-sign him? A lot of you guys were upset that I said the New York Knicks would finish second seed in the Eastern Conference, but to me, it's sort of like a no-brainer, because think about it. What was it? 2 years ago, Derrick Rose, Joakim Noah, when they were healthy, they made the playoffs. Yeah, I know they had Jimmy Butler, but let's be real. Carmelo Anthony's better than Jimmy Butler. But not only that, there's also Kristaps Porzingis. So in terms of scoring, the New York Knicks are pretty much, I wouldn't say elite. Well, all right, they're top level, but they're not elite. Elite would be like Golden State Warriors. That's elite scoring. The New York Knicks really only have one dominant scorer in Carmelo Anthony, and the rest are just solid scorers. So I would say they're a top tier team in terms of scoring, but they're not elite. Defensively, this team is elite, though. With Lance Thomas coming off the bench, with Kristaps Porzingis, probably he has a good chance of winning Defensive Player of the Year. With Joakim Noah coming back, and he's a great defender. Derrick Rose can guard the point guard position. Courtney Lee's one of the best perimeter defenders. Carmelo Anthony was one of the best perimeter defenders last season, and now he's improved so much on the defensive end, and he can lock up LeBron and Kevin Durant. And if you don't believe me, just look up the stats, man. You know what I'm saying? So that's why I say things like that, because statistically, Carmelo Anthony does the best on LeBron James. He does better than Kawhi. He does better than Kevin Durant. And if you don't believe me, just look it up. LeBron against Kawhi in the 2014 Finals, LeBron averaged, I think, 28, 7, and 4 on 57% shooting from the field, 51% shooting from three. And then you compare that to LeBron versus Melo. I think LeBron averages like 27, 5, and 5 with like 49% shooting and 35% shooting from three. You see, there's a big difference. You know what I'm saying? So statistically, Carmelo Anthony does a better job than some of the best defenders on LeBron James. The thing with Indiana is, I mean, they're a solid team, but they're going to struggle on the offensive end. There's no doubt about it. First of all, Paul George isn't even efficient. And when you have a superstar that shoots like 40% from the field for his career, and like 41% last year, and the year prior to that 39%, that's not good. He's not a dominant scorer. That's not good to have, your star player shooting nearly 40% from the field. That's just not good at all. You can't have that. And then you have Monte Ellis, who was struggling last year as well. And then, pretty much besides that, they don't have really much any scoring. I mean, Jeff Teague is a solid point guard, but at the most he's going to give you 14 points per game. You know what I'm saying? And Al Jefferson, he's not even going to be starting anymore. And he's not even Big Al anymore, 20 and 10 guy. He's not even that. You know what I'm saying? So offensively, this team is going to struggle. Now, defensively, this team is going to be absolutely elite. But at the end of the day, you can have the best defense in the world, but if you don't have any offense at all, you're going to struggle. That's the way it is. Like, if you look at the most successful teams in NBA history, let's look at the most successful team in recent history, the Miami Heat, with LeBron, Wade, and Bosh. That Miami Heat team was one of the best defensive teams of all time. And they were also one of the best offensive teams of all time. See what I'm saying? And then let's go back to Kobe. Kobe's Lakers, 08, 09, and 10. One of the best defensive teams in NBA history, one of the best offensive teams in NBA history. Let's go back to the San Antonio Spurs. Defensively, that team was top tier. Offensively, that team was top tier. The difference between San Antonio is San Antonio, they didn't really have any dominant scorers. They just had they had one superstar, two all-stars, and then, they just passed the ball like it's nothing. Like, you know what I'm saying? All selfless, And then you want to go back and look at Michael Jordan's, or if you want to even look at the Los Angeles Lakers from the early 2000s, Shaq and Kobe's Lakers. Dominant defensively and dominant offensively. You had Shaq averaging 28 and Kobe averaging 27. You know what I'm saying? And then even before that, we had Michael Jordan's Bulls. You know what I'm saying? So, and you want me to keep going. We have the bad boy Pistons defensively. You have the Showtime Lakers. You have the Boston Celtics, Larry Bird's era. You know what I'm saying? And even before that, you have Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. You have Jerry West with the Lakers. It's all about having both ends of the spectrum. You know what I'm saying? So you can be dominant defensively, but if you don't have any scoring offensively, you can't win basketball games. So that's why I'm saying the Indiana Pacers are not going to be good. So, some people were getting upset about the San Antonio Spurs. The San Antonio Spurs are a great team, no doubt about it. But they are not up there with LeBron and Kevin Durant. They're not up there. And the reason is, it's because of superstar power. They have the star power. They have Kawhi and LaMarcus Aldridge. They have what it takes to do to do good in the regular season, finish top 3, top 4, in the West. They have that potential, and they most likely will. But at the same time, Kawhi has proven last season in the playoffs he cannot carry a team deep in the playoffs. He had a better roster than the Oklahoma City Thunder last year. And yet, when it was time for them to go in, what happened? He folded. LaMarcus Aldridge folded, both of them. They're proving that they don't show up in the big moments from last season. So I'm just basing all of this off of last season. You give Carmelo Anthony all of these props, and you don't give Paul George. Okay, here's the thing. You often say Melo hasn't made it out the first round. That may be true, and a lot. He hasn't made it a lot out of the first round. That may be true, but you also have to understand. There are times he finished second in the West, yada, yada, yada. But he played in the wild, wild West when literally the 6th, 7th, and 8th seeds had 56 wins. When was the last time you seen a 6th, 7th, and 8th seed have 50-plus wins? When was the last time that happened? And I don't think it's ever happened before, besides the two from like 2000, what was that era? 2003 to 2012, I would say, was the Wild Wild West era. That's when the West was dominant. This now is nothing compared to what the West used to be. Nothing. You know what I'm saying? So when people say things like that, it's like, come on, dude. Look at you had to play against the Spurs, the Lakers, the Utah Jazz, the Houston Rockets, the Phoenix Suns. Like, come on. Those are some of the best teams in the past 20 years. Like, come on, dude. He had Steve Nash, Amari Stoudemire to go up against. He had T-Mac and Yao Ming. He had Kobe and Pau Gasol. He had Tim Duncan, Tony Parker, and Manu. He had Darren Williams, AK-47. You guys won't even know who AK-47 is. That's Andre Kurlienko. Paul Millsap. You know what I mean? Like, come on, man. You gotta. It's more to it, man, than just, oh, look, he's never been out the first round. LeBron averaged 28, 7, and 5. Whatever, right? But at the end of the day, is like, look, Kawhi had LaMarcus Aldridge. 2 players averaging over 20. Melo didn't have that. You give Melo someone that'll average over 20, and it's over, man. That's the crazy thing. Like, you have all these great players in NBA history who's never had great teammates. Never. Look at Tracy McGrady. Do you think Tracy McGrady wouldn't have won an NBA championship if Yao Ming didn't stay healthy? If Tracy McGrady had someone, let's say Yao Ming was healthy and he was averaging 22 and 10, you think Tracy McGrady wouldn't have gone deep into the playoffs? Tracy McGrady? Come on, man. You know what I'm saying? That's a difference, dude. Like, I'm sorry, like, Kawhi's good, but he can't mess with these all-time greats, man. He can't. I know he's still young, but from what I can see, man, he's not a superstar. He's not. He's a defensive star. Did you see Kevin Durant? Jab step, dribble left, shoot the 3 from the left wing, and before it even went in, he started running to the other side of the court. Oh my freaking goodness, man. This team, dude, is going to be so fun to watch. I can't even imagine, like, and it's a different type of fun, too. It's not, high flying like the Miami Heat. It's not high flying like the Phoenix Suns back in their day, or like Kobe and Shaq. It's not like that. It's fun in the sense that you're amazed at the type of shots they're going to make. Like, Stephen Curry, Klay Thompson, and Kevin Durant, that's the best backcourt in NBA history. You know what I mean? And, Steph Curry and Klay Thompson were already the best shooting backcourt in NBA history. But now Steph Curry, Klay Thompson, and Kevin Durant, they're the best backcourt in NBA history. I mean, oh my freaking goodness, dude. 3 players going to average over 20. I actually think Klay Thompson might still average over 20, depending on how they play. But from what I'm seeing now, it's going to be just so spectacular to watch. I mean, the running and the gunning and the just firing away from 3. Oh my, everyone's going to play. Everyone's, not this year, but when 2K18 comes out, everyone's going to be playing with the Golden State Warriors, because you think it's bad now? Because I recorded a video for you guys, I'm playing with Stephen Curry, 100-point challenge. And Stephen Curry, like, literally, I was shooting shots from half court, and he was draining them. Perfect release. Like, I'm just like, oh my gosh. So imagine when 2K18 comes out. It's going to be ridiculous, man. Oh my freaking goodness. And then we have the New York Knicks. We're seeing the Knicks do some more in the preseason. They're looking solid. I'm seeing some struggles, especially in terms of depth. But at the same time, it's the preseason, so every team is struggling a bit because they're not really at their full rotation. But I'm seeing some problems in terms of depth and things like that. For example, pretty much all we have coming off the bench are Lance Thomas, Brandon Jennings, and Hernan Gomez. Kuzminskas, we have him too, but in terms of solid bench, well, they're unproven, to be honest, except for Brandon Jennings and Lance Thomas. But they're unproven, sort of like the Cavaliers bench now. Like, there are a lot of players that are unproven, which is kind of scary to me as a Knicks fan, because I've been talking so much trash, just screwing with you guys, like people like to say, quote-unquote trolling. I hate saying that. But people, I was just trolling you guys and things like that. And it's funny because you guys never realize that. But it's so funny how mad people get, too. Like, literally, there's people that go and curse me out. I'm unsubbing. Oh, you're unsubbing. How come I see you comment on every single video? I'm telling you right now, Derrick Rose, you cannot get injured this year. You are looking great. I know you're having your problems with that lawsuit and things like that, and the case with the rape and whatever, but right now you're looking good. The team's looking great. We're looking good. Melo's looking good. Porzingis is looking like freaking Chris Bosh, Dirk Nowitzki, Yao Ming, all combined in their prime. All Porzingis needs to do, if this dude develops a post game, you know what he needs to do? You know what Melo needs to do? Melo needs to call up Hakeem the Dream, or even Shaq, whoever. Hakeem the Dream, Shaq, Tim Duncan, and they need to go and teach Porzingis. Maybe Tim Duncan, because Tim Duncan has one of the best face-ups in the game in NBA history. So call Tim Duncan, Timmy D, Hakeem, whoever it is, David Robinson, Shaquille O'Neal, whoever. Call someone. Let them know. Look, we need you to come help develop Porzingis. If he doesn't sign an extension with the Utah Jazz, you better go after Gordon Hayward. That guy, if you have him, Porzingis, and Melo on the same team, I'm out of here, guys. Let me know what you guys think. Peace.